Hi. So, as they've just said, I'm one of the newest members of the development team, and um, I've not got that much of a background in development yet. So for me, it's mostly been all about learning about libraries, learning about Aspen, which is what I mostly work on, learning about PTFS itself, learning about the needs of library patrons, the needs of library admins, all of this. And so we thought I would sort of give you a bit of a behind the scenes look in a sense, where I'm just going to take you through what I've learned in my first 4 months with PTFS, which has been very enjoyable so far, and I'm very much looking forward to continuing working with Spin and I'm sure as well, but later we'll see. But for the time being, the first thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is just the onboarding I got. Um, because my favorite aspect of that is just how hands-on it was. Um, it's essentially focused on getting me to figure things out by myself with a lot of support on the side. But at the end of that first week, I really had a nice overview of where the resources were, what sort of work I was expected to do, what people might need from me, and who I could ask if I needed help with things. So I think everyone was really supportive with that in essentially making sure I had access to the things I needed to have access to do my job well. And that is essentially supporting all of you, those of you who use Aspen, and probably all of you later once I move on to Koha as well, if that happens. So in terms of what exactly happened, so mostly hands-on, as I've said, but obviously there were sessions where things were explained in a nice bit of clarity and all that. I got to meet all the different teams, all different departments, have in-person chats with them, which was very valuable because it gave me really, I'm a developer, right? I focus on the technical, but it gave me that overview of what we do as a company so that I'm really just part of PTFS and not just part of the dev team. I really like the dev team though, mind you. But yeah. Aspen Discovery, obviously needed to learn about because that's what I mostly work on. And the fascinating thing for me is learning about the code base and how it's organized and all the technical aspects. That's one thing. But then also learning about how it's actually used and implemented. That also is really interesting. So there was a bit of both, and I think who I think all of you might, most of you definitely know, yeah, she did a fantastic job of getting me to look at things through the lenses of, okay, how would a library actually see this? Not how are you looking at that from a developer standpoint when you need to make it work. So that was fantastic as well. And then I got a lot of help setting up the tools and environment that I use for my work, which in turn means that I can be more efficient, which means that I can sort out bugs quicker, sort out enhancements quicker. So it's nicer for everybody. So that has been absolutely fantastic. As a learning journey for me, it was great. And I think in terms of what I can do for you, it also has helped a lot. The other thing I really wanted to mention was the first ticket I got to work on, because as much as the first part of the onboarding was really hands-on with obviously sessions, but also me learning to do things by myself and figure it out. The first development ticket I actually did, that was very much supported, very, very guided, and it really built sort of like a baseline that I could use for any further development I do. So I was mentored quite thoroughly on that. I was shown one way of doing things and then encouraged to explore and try to see what way or how I would adapt that way of working to fit what I can do best so that I can do my best when I'm, again, developing faster and helping out, trying to squash bugs and all that sort of lovely things that I like to do. So it was quite a minor change. When looking at it now, it wasn't exactly the most complex task, but it was interesting. It was just to make site installation a bit easier. So just the script that people use when doing all things, it just added the name of the support company in there. And yeah, it might have been a small ticket in terms of skills, but in terms of what it taught me and how it's changed the way I do the work I do to help support you, it's changed a lot. So that's why I really wanted to mention it. As I've said before, support from everyone from the start to the finish. It was fantastic. And the potentially last, so the other thing I wanted to mention, user class. So in Aspen, you have usage dashboards for different stats, different sections and all that. And then if you look at your dashboards, you've got little links, and then those links take you to a specific graph. You have a specific data table as well. And you might have seen a CSV download feature appear on there. I'm not exactly sure where we are in terms of versions, but it's definitely available in places. It's currently being implemented further. But in essence, what my work has been on that has been to add more of those pages, because as some of you might have noted, they are there for, I think, the general admin section, but they might not be there for specific modules. So we've got quite a few additional ones that have been added. I have quite a few more lined up. I'm currently looking at actually getting that code onto the project so it can be made available. But that has been doing that because I had to look at the admin section so much, and because I had to look through the setting, and because I had to think about how you would essentially want to see those graphs, where they need to be, what they need to be connected to. That was a lovely way, again, to learn more about how to see things from a user perspective, instead of just the code, which, mine's and tidy and fantastic and all that. But it was a nice shift in perspective, is what I'd say on that one. And code-wise, I got to refactor stuff a little bit. So I got to look at how things were done so far, disagree with some of them a little, propose a new solution, which went through. I was quite surprised, very happy. And that was essentially me cleaning things up so that the code is easier to read, easier to maintain. And it means that if something goes wrong, we know exactly where it is, we know what it does, we can understand it quickly, therefore we can solve whatever problem there is quicker as well. Which is why I thought it might be worth mentioning here, because in the long term, I'm hoping that that will actually help basically all of us, if I'm being a bit idealistic, but And the probably last thing, I'm just looking at the time thing I wanted to talk about, is the help desk itself. So I'm a dev, but I also do a bit of support at times when those tickets actually reach the dev team. It's been a nice learning journey as well, because sometimes, or most of the time, if I get a ticket about a question, the first thing I need to do is go and figure out exactly what went wrong and what the person was doing on Aspen while it went wrong. So that's very nice in terms of learning how to help you, because I have to recreate the incident. And that's where having interactions with some of you over OpenCRM was really nice, because I could get to ask the questions I needed to ask to figure out exactly how things occurred, and then from there, recreate it, debug it, hopefully find a solution quickly. But yeah, it's been very valuable, and hopefully it'll serve me well in the future, which means I should be able to help you whenever the needs arise for that. So one last thing, in case you're curious, that's the things I'm currently working on. So all of them are integration. Liquid, which I think Alex, you did mention, yeah. So that one is coming up. The Hayes payment system integration coming up as well. And we are looking at use data consent, sorry, at the moment. So that's going to go to the profile as well once we've got it set up.